Yeah, and the wind of this guy's exhaust. One thing, my pet peeve is people who park in the street and use it as a parking lot, a spot in a parking lot, rather. Because to me, the street is anywhere that a parking lot doesn't have a parking place or a garage. Inside the lot, there's still a street, even though there's a yellow line signifying it. Ergo, that region. But more importantly, it was South Park, how they troll. They've trolled Bono. And to me, Bono, he was like, I think English. In any case, he was foreign. So in the United States, we have music. And I think that it got its huevos here because of Elvis Presley. And then alternative changed everything. I heard that alternative started in the 70s. Soundgarden. I think Soundgarden and Nirvana, I bet, less so Nirvana, more so Soundgarden, because of the late Cobain. The Soundgarden changed everything. I think they redefined it. And then it would be Coldplay who capitalized off of it. And they did arena tours with just like one verse and then a massive interlude and an outro. But Chris Martin, he would be on like TV at a massive event. He did arenas with this shit. Capitalized off alternative. It would be where he would say, "We're in this together," and then he goes rogue. Looked him up a decade later. He doesn't look too hot. He looked like he got into pain pills and isn't sitting pretty. I'm relating this because Bono on South Park is a foreigner who capitalized off of Americano's alternative. So looking at this in a benchmark, it's fantastic in attributes sonically of what foreigners have done musically, professionally. But in Japanese, it's a sadder story where they're less renowned, but they're more accomplished at the same time. It's just as in the Bible, God, it just says, don't live worldly, but he so loved the world, he gave his only son. What does this mean, a 2-in-1? Well, splitting the difference. Cars are great, but I hate their exhaust if you're close to them, or one's trailing you constantly and you have to breathe in it. What would this mean on a bill of health? Probably not one so good. Imagine if, well, that's how people die. They go in their garage. R.I.P. One of these rappers, he died because he didn't know any better. But one of these ways that people do die, and they should know better, is they close their garage and they connect like a tube to their exhaust pipe, and then they put the tube inside of their car and they close the window. This same attribute is accomplished by offing yourself if you go into a garage and you just shut your car and you're like having your car turned on. It doubles as a hose that would get fed. You stick a rag around the hose and you go ahead, stuff it in the muffler, snake it around into the window open in your car, and you turn your car on with the window up. And now you're ingesting that exhaust, which will make you fatal in minutes. Why am I alluding this? Is the zombie apocalypse, of course. This would be a place where all bets are off the table, and it would be a place where places would close up shop because they don't want to get thrown off their horse, knocked off the rocker, knocked their socks off by zombies, because the military, I don't know, there's countless movies where they can't quarantine the zombies. It's from the human population. Look at some zombie movies. You'll get what I'm talking about 28 days later. And so I'm mentioning this is because me as a man, I'm looking at what's timeless. And like, it's these Japanese who, less renowned, but more accomplished again. They have music that will be great in like thousands of years. And it's these players who have died, these tragic deaths in it, just because they're making stuff that are so timeless, and yet no one knows about them. The arc of these two things, the 2-in-1, has left the fatalities of countless members and the obligation to be on a hiatus and then go on to non-activity if you're getting older inside of these bands, because you don't want to be like an Aerosmith, that old and no one knows about you in the world, even as good as you are. for centuries, it is frowned upon in the Japanese community because it doesn't leave the door open for what you did at your first marks that you've made. And so it's this giant thing where like you quit early, but it's the band Gazzetti that really capitalized off of what alternative was, and they were in it from the early '90s. And one of their bass players has subsided, and rest in peace. But this is one of these things. It's back to Zombie Apocalypse. Me as a man, it's I can't contribute to like make a septic tank flow. I would be up shit's creek without a paddle very quickly in a zombie apocalypse. All these things that I can't do just with the skill set that I do have uh, isn't enough to make the ends meet in a zombie apocalypse. And that's really all I'm saying in May the 4th is like it's a knockoff of Star Trek. Anything futuristic can be a knockoff of Star Wars. And so in coupling this, I think that this timeless material, a zombie apocalypse, this is like a rough edge to address head on. And Coldplay didn't age well, even though they're as renowned as these Japanese that got off. And I don't know, is not looking good once these original bands are subsiding. There was this time in the era, there's so many good bands, but they've petered out so quickly, and there's really not a lot of shoes to fill with new talent. It's almost as if it was a whisper in the wind, and an echo is now becoming a thing of the past.